Internal Revenue Service IRS tax news. Tax pros should renew PTINs, PTINs now for the upcoming filing season. But first, why is it that IRS agents always have a chip on their shoulder? At first, I thought they were trying to get a bird to land on it, just like Mary Poppins does. But Mary Poppins doesn't need a chip on her shoulder to get the bird to land on it. That's cheating. It's possible the IRS agents have a chip on their shoulder because they live on government-confiscated money, ledgers, and books can't taste great no matter how good the government is at cooking them. Although there are no better book cookers than the government, they've been boiling the largest pot of books you've ever seen for years, dishing that cooked book slop up to people, telling them, hey, it tastes great, even as people cringe at the taste of dirty boiled ledger. Speaking of chips, my staff are real chips off the old block. I think their nefarious plan is to make this old block into an old pebble. Stop chipping at the poor old block for the love of... IRS Tax Tip 2021-160, October 28, 2021. The IRS reminds all active federal tax return preparers they must renew their preparer tax identification number, otherwise known as the PTIN, the PTIN, now for 2022. All current PTINs will expire December 31st, 2021. Anyone who prepares or helps prepare a federal tax return for compensation must have a valid PTIN, PTIN from the IRS. They need to include the PTIN on any return filed with the IRS. Tax preparers must pay a fee of $35.95 to renew or get a PTIN for 2022. This fee is non-refundable. A preparers must pay the exact amount to complete the PTIN process. Those with a 2021 PTIN should use the online renewal process. This takes about 15 minutes, they say. Form W12, there's a link to that here, along with the instructions. There's a link to the instructions as well. Provide a paper option for the PTIN applications and renewals. The paper form can take 4 to 6 weeks to process. So they're basically saying you might be better off doing it online if you can, but you do have the paper option, but that could take 4 to 6 weeks. Failure to have and use a valid PTIN must result in penalties or may result in penalties. How to renew a PTIN online. Go to the tax professionals page on irs.gov. There's a link to the tax professionals page here. Select the renew or register button. There's a link to the renew or register button here. Enter user ID and password to log into the online PTIN account. Follow the prompts to verify information and answer a few questions. Users will receive a confirmation of their PTIN renewal once the process is completed. Tax preparers can also use the online system to view a summary of the number of tax returns filed using their PTIN and receive secure messages from the IRS Return Preparer Office. And that can be a really good internal control, by the way, because obviously if you're doing the tax returns, you're processing the tax returns, and if you look up and see that there's other returns that have been processed with your PTIN number, that would be an indication that there's some kind of fraudulent activity that is going on. So you might want to do that kind of comparison from time to time. So first-time PTIN applicants can also apply for a PTIN online. So if it's the first-time tax preparer applications, you want the PTIN to get started with the preparation of the taxes. How to apply for a PTIN online, go to the tax professionals page, irs.gov. There's a link to that here. Select the renew or register button and select, quote, create an account, quote, or create account, end quote, in the new user box. First-time users are issued a temporary password and will be prompted to change their password when they log in. Select the appropriate, quote, PTIN sign up, end quote, option. Follow the prompts. Opportunity for non-credentialed tax preparers. The annual filing season program, there's a link to that here, is a voluntary IRS program intended to encourage non-credentialed tax return preparers to take continuing education courses to increase their knowledge and improve their filing season readiness. Those who choose to participate must renew their PTIN, PTIN, complete 18 hours of continuing education by December 31st, 2021 from IRS-approved CE providers. There's a link to those providers here, and consent to adhere to specific obligations in Circular 230. The IRS has a video, there's a link to that video here, available on how to sign the Circular 230 consent and print the record of completion. After completing the steps, the return preparer receives an annual filing season program record of completion. There's a link to that here from the IRS. Program participants are then included in a public directory. There's a link to the public directory of return preparers with credentials and select qualifications on the IRS website. The searchable IRS directory helps taxpayers find preparers. There's a link to those preparers in their area who have completed the program or held professional credentials recognized by the IRS. More information can be found at the links below, including the PTIN requirements for tax return preparers and enrolled agent information. There's links to those items here, and there'll be a link to this in the description.